I'd like to call the March 15th meeting of the Boone County Board to order. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. We'll rise for that, and then after that, we'll be seated and hear a word from Father Gary.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father Gary.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson, for the invitation this evening to give the invocation. You asked that I first, before the prayer, to speak briefly about what St. James does for the community and for the county. As the Catholic Church organizes parishes, the Catholic parish of St. James encompasses all of Boone County. So we're proud to call all those who live in Boone County under our pastoral care and under our flock, ultimately. The most important thing we do for the community is to worship the living God. And every day we have Mass, twice on Saturdays, 3 times on Sundays, not counting weddings and funerals and other prayers and services for the community. The best thing we can do for Boone County is to pray for them. And so we do that every day diligently. And from that faith comes service, hearts of great service to all here who live in Boone County, considered our parish. This past year, we have given over $30,000 in direct aid through the St. Vincent de Paul Society to any person who lives in Boone County who comes to our church asking for help, no matter what color, no matter what creed, no matter what religion. Anyone who lives here is part of our community, our parish, as we consider it, and we serve everyone. Right now, we're actively serving the victims of that terrible fire, and so we're kind of overwhelmed with need right now, but our parishioners respond and take care of whatever needs the people have. We also work in union with First Presbyterian on Main Street and Lincoln to provide food for those who are hungry. This past year, we distributed almost 900 food boxes amounting to over $22,000 of food aid to people here. And among the St. Vincent de Paul charities, we provide car insurance, rides to and from work, to doctor's appointments, over-the-counter meds, bus tokens, gas cards, utility and rent, aid. And again, as I said, we're dealing with the fire victims right now most intensely. So thank you for the opportunity for us to put our light not under a bushel basket but on the lamp for all to see, and so that you might know that we're here to serve you. And for over 150 years here at St. James in Belvedere, we're happy to do it after our Lord's commission. So let us stand and pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we, your children, and the servants here of Boone County Board, seek your blessing. Through Jesus, your Son, you have given us eternal life and called us to love you, our Lord, with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and our neighbor as ourselves. May we fulfill your command of love so that we might all experience the richness of your blessing. We ask this through the same Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Father.
Father Gary, thank you very much for being here, and thank you to you and your parish for supporting all in Boone County. Roll call, please.
Carl Johnson.
Here.
Sherry Branson.
Here.
Jeff Carlisle.
Here.
Denny Ellingson.
Here.
Sherry Gieske.
Here.
Carl Larson.
Here.
Ray Larson.
Here.
Jessica Mueller.
Here.
Marshall Newhouse.
Here.
Bernard O'Malley.
Here.
Brad Stark.
Here.
Kathy Ward.
Here.
Thank you. Before we get too far here, anybody who would like to speak during public comment, I would ask that you please come up, get a slip of paper and fill it out, and then bring it up here so that we have record of who it is, and we can put that into the record. We'll get there in just a moment. I would accept a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Newhouse, seconded by Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion? Ken, any changes?
No.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Accept a motion to approve the February 15th minutes of the County Board.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Ms. Branson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Appointments and recognitions. We have one appointment tonight for Dr. Phoenix to a 3-year term of the Board of Health. Dr. Phoenix unfortunately could not be here tonight at the board meeting, but he was at the admin meeting this month for people to talk to and see him. This particular position must be a physician. We strive hard to make sure it's a physician that practices in Boone County and lives in Boone County, and we were able to find the perfect candidate. He comes highly recommended from our own retired physician on our board, Dr. O'Malley. I thank him for his guidance in helping us with this. So with that, I would accept a motion to approve Dr. Phoenix to the Board of Health. Motion by Ms. Ward, seconded by
Second.
Mr. O'Malley. Any discussion? Mr. Newhouse.
At admin, the first time we had an opportunity to go through the appointment process with an interview, pretty low impact, went pretty well.
Thank you. Anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next up, public comments. I have one. Is there anybody else? Sherry Bartell, I'm sorry. Please, come on up. Just as a reminder, if you can talk closely or speak closely into the microphone, and please state your name and address when you get there, just for the recorded record also, please.
Hi, my name is Sherry Bartelt. I live at 2200 Sunrise Drive in Belvedere, Illinois. I'm here to invite you to Animal Friends Society of Boone County. We are having a dog walk on April 23rd. I believe it's going to be at Spencer Park, and it's from 1 to 3. Bring your dog and have some fun. We hope to have some people there for your animals to check out. We're trying to get some sponsors and everything for that. We're working on it. So it is April 23rd from 1 to 3. I also am here to invite you to a meeting of Soil Save Our Illinois Land. It will be March 20th, this coming Monday, at 6 o'clock. It will run from 6 to 8 o'clock at the Ida Public Library in the lower level, and we will discuss the pipeline outside of town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No other public comment? Council on Aging.
We actually meet next Monday, so I don't have a lot, but I will just mention two things that at the last meeting we were talking that the state is behind about $160,000. Not any surprise, but I don't see the Council on Aging waiting to see what they're going to do. We will just try and keep working as well as we can and get as many things as we can. And we do a pretty good job of letting the state know that they owe us money, and they usually have come through for us in the past, and we are expecting them to do that again.
Thank you very much. Growth Dimensions.
Thank you very much. I'm Pamela Lopez-Fettis. I introduced myself at the strategic planning meeting, but for those who weren't attending, I just wanted to introduce myself once again. I just wanted to kind of give you a report. I'm going around kind of a summary of the end of my pretty much my third week at Growth Dimensions. The first one was very enlightening. I asked a lot of questions, got some answers, and I found out that where some of the gaps are. What I want to work on is developing some kind of our back office, making sure that we have procedures and processes, and that includes some of our accounting work and providing some more kind of accountability for what we're doing. We're also going to be planning for an audit, which would be available hopefully in a few months. We've been working on some type of communications, which is one of the things that I'd like to see enhanced for the organization. We've, not only to the public, we've shared information with the articles in the Rockford Register-Star and Northwest Quarterly, but we want to make sure that we provide monthly updates to our board members who only meet every other month. And we want to make sure that also that we're constantly attending and present at various meetings with the cities, the townships, the board, and the organizations that represent the community as well. Our annual dinner is scheduled for April 27th. We have Rob Gerbitz. He's with the president and CEO for Hendricks Group. They're located out in Beloit, Wisconsin, and he's going to be talking about the revitalization and what it takes to change and enhance the community's presence. So he's going to be our featured speaker, and we hope that you'll all attend. We'll be sending out invitations at the end of this week, so you should be receiving them. As far as business development, we've been working on updating our real estate list. This has been a very challenging opportunity to make sure that we have the most current information. The system that we've been using, the lowest system, there's a link directly on our website. However, sometimes the requirements change, and we find that it's not as user-friendly as we'd like it to be. So we're going to be working with the regional council, planning council, to develop certified sites and something that's going to be a little bit more user-friendly, be able to develop layers so we'd be able to see the enterprise zones on it and be more effective for people not only in the community they might be able to, they want to expand it, but also people outside the community that want to come into Boone County. Currently, we're also taking inventory of some of the assets that we have in our community so we can really showcase them. We definitely, it's very clear through our website that we're ag and we support manufacturing, but we also want to show some of the opportunities that we have to showcase how beautiful and the opportunities to live in Boone County. And so we want to make sure that we're showcasing everything on our website as well as in our materials. So we're going to be taking an inventory of all those benefits and those assets and develop some materials to showcase that. Our current business development committee, business development opportunities have included still some suppliers from Chrysler. There has been some that are looking more for places to park their trailer, and so they're looking for a space and for the next few years. So they're still trying to kind of feel their way, seeing what the opportunities are. There's some suppliers that had been contacted at the last minute to see what, our contractors, to see if they'll accept the contract. And so they contacted us kind of quickly and said, I need space like tomorrow. So we're going to be following up on them and seeing what transpires. We also have been talking to a broker that was interested in development in the downtown area, looking at more of a high-scale apartments. We're also talking to a real estate agent that is focusing on a healthcare provider that was looking at some spots. So we've been trying to identify those and be identify those opportunities for them to locate here. The enterprise zone is, we've been managing it on behalf of the county, and we had redeveloped our standard application process based on what some changes that the state has made. It's not that they are mandating additional requirements, it's just that they're mandating that they be documented into the system. So we are changing our application process in order to address that, as well as the reporting requirements are now required. So we'll be following up more diligently with the companies that have been receiving the enterprise zone benefits. Our benefits, we kind of got a late start with the enterprise zone because of this transition into the application. But even so, we're a little bit higher on the applications that were received, and in the dollar amounts than last year. So slightly, but we're still above at the same time last year. We'll give you more numbers as time goes on. Right now, they were really very insignificant to even provide because it's only been a couple months. As far as workforce development, the organization that oversees workforce development in the region is called the Northern Illinois Workforce Alliance. Excuse me. It's now considered the Workforce Connection Board. They've changed their name in order to align with the services they have to deliver in a 3-county area. We have a center here in Belvedere in which they implement services to businesses and job seekers. They are under the process of reevaluating the delivery of their systems and are in an evaluation process of put out a request for bids and get some responses for a one-stop operator who's going to be delivering those services. So they have interviews scheduled next week in which I'm going to be participating on and providing some feedback. The the Workforce Connection also has talent in the pipeline management that they're facilitating. This is a group of manufacturers that come together. It's led by businesses, but supported by the workforce organizations, the services, as well as the economic development organizations, in order to identify what issues as a group that they want to address. And it's really an opportunity for manufacturers to speak as one voice to education and also to further market outside the region, not necessarily to compete with each other, but outside the area. There's a very similar process with healthcare, and it's been very successful. That's all I have for today.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Thank you very much.
CASA, Charlotte.
Hello, I'm Charlotte Meyer. I'm the director of Boone County CASA. First off, I want to thank everyone who came to our Flapjack fundraiser. It was the best one we've had. We had the most attendance and raised the most money for the 4 years we've had it. So thank you to all who were able to make it out on that Saturday. Other than that, we have 27 advocates still, 24 are active. We were able to close 5 children's cases this past month, which is fantastic. One was returned home to his mother, and 4 girls were adopted. But it's best case scenario in both situations, so we're very thankful for that. Working on fundraising, our celebrity roast, of course, is coming up in September. We're roasting Gary Turner. It's like I heard that now. Sponsorship letters and forms will be going out within the next week, so be on the lookout for those. And other than that, we are working on other smaller fundraisers to do throughout the year.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Board of Health, we have a stand-in tonight, Ellen Ginrich.
Hello, everybody. And you're right, I'm the stand-in for Amanda Mail, our public health administrator, who unfortunately is ill tonight. So she asked me to stand in and do what you're kind of used to her doing, which is give you a few announcements and our program highlight of the month. And also, thank you very much for unanimously giving us Dr. Phoenix. We will miss Dr. O'Malley, but we will move on with him, so that will be fantastic. So Amanda says that give these to you, and you know what to do with them. So our program highlight for this month is our potable water. That's one of the core state-mandated programs that is funded through the Health Protection Grant. We chose that this month because it's Groundwater Awareness Week during March, and so we do some kind of special activities around that. So we do want to let you know what we do with that water well program. In Boone County, many of us, including myself, are on private wells. How many of us here are on private wells? Okay, lots of us, because that's what we are in Boone County. So we serve about 18,000 residents who have private wells. We are all about just making sure that everybody has safe drinking water. So we inspect wells for individuals, property owners. We also track and set up the sealing of abandoned wells. That's a problem certainly because we don't want to ever contaminate the aquifer and have a well that hasn't been abandoned properly then become a problem for the next neighbor and the next neighbor. We test water for the maintenance of wells. This month we're running a special because of Groundwater Awareness Month. So it's normally $50 and it's $38 for the month of March. And we test for coliform and nitrates. We really do recommend if you have a well that you do that at least once a year. If for some reason your sample comes back unsatisfactory, we're there to help you figure out what to do about it and give you advice and help you work through that process. So take advantage of that, anybody who has a private well. We also permit the construction of new wells. Obviously, you don't want to drill your well next to your septic field. So the health department is there making sure that all of that is happening correctly also. The water tests that we do, we also do sometimes for real estate transactions on either side of that, the buyer or the seller, as well as just anybody who wants to test their well. So that's kind of that update for you. The second thing Amanda wanted me to mention to you is about the Poverty Summit, which the Boone County Hunger Coalition is going to be sponsoring on April 11th at the community building. I believe that you know about it because she gave you a save the date last month. So what's coming around now is just a little more information about it. There's a $15 registration fee, which does include lunch. We are giving a half rate for any students, and we have a lot of nursing students that are going to come that we have reached out to that the health department works with on a regular basis. It starts at 11 o'clock with registration, and at 11:30 we will have some speakers on, what poverty is, what it looks like. We'll have lunch, and then we'll have the actual poverty simulation, which will last for an hour. I think as elected officials, it's really important that we attend this because it's something that we want to all collectively work on so that we can help those families in our community and the children that are living in poverty. So it's going to be really fantastic. Please sign up. I can tell you if you don't, Amanda will probably call you or email you, so just warning you, she will be after you. So there's that. And Father Gary did mention that St. James is also doing some efforts for relief for the fire victims. Health department personnel also felt very moved to do something since many of the people that are victims of that fire are our clients. So we are working with Chief Heiser to get donations. We'll give them to Chief Heiser, and he's going to make sure that the Salvation Army gets that directly to the victims. So as far as county board members, if you're not donating through your church, if you want to donate through the health department, please feel free to do that, and we will take care of doing that with Chief Heiser and then on to the Salvation Army. So that's our update.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Economic Development District of Northern Illinois, that's our map. And the last meeting for that was canceled due to there not being a whole lot to talk about. I think there was more emphasis on a big election coming up for many involved. So, anything else? Ken, anything other groups you can think of?
Eventually, this agenda item will change to what they're going to call Region 1, but we don't have the official name change yet. So,
there we go. Next item. Consent agenda. Accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carlisle, seconded by Mr. Newhouse. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Standing committees, PZB.
I think you've got a
Did I?
line. The raffle permits, do we need to have...
That's the whole general consent.
I know, but you've got a lady here on the raffle permits that I thought maybe we were planning to hear from tonight. Am I wrong? or where it was a different deal?
Yes, Ken.
I believe it's required that a representative of an organization that will raffle off something, I believe more than 10,000 in value, must be present, and by the presence of that representative of the Farm Bureau, they've met that requirement. So
if they'd like to speak, they may.
it's up to them, but they don't need to.
Would you like to speak? Come hang out with us for a while? Something like that? Sure. Now she's going to be mad at you, Denny, because she was out of here.
Good evening. I'm Anne Marie Kane. I'm with the Winnebago Boone Farm Bureau Foundation. Our foundation is a 501c3 charitable organization with the sole purpose of promoting and funding and education for agriculture. We do a number of fundraising efforts, 2 locally here in Boone County, our annual farm breakfast in June on the 17th this year, and our charity pull at the fairgrounds on June 24th. And this year we requested the raffle, which you just approved, for a $25,000 raffle. We have a maximum of 500 tickets, $100 a piece. So we appreciate your support in that.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Can we go to PZB now, Denny?
Let me think. Yes, sir, we can.
Okay.
9.1 is case 4-2017. Stiskel, 232 Rochester Road Northeast. The applicant is seeking plat approval for combining lots 255 and 256 easement between the 2 lots. It has passed the approval of the staff and the PZB.
All right, I accept a motion to, well, that's the motion by Mr. Ellison.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Stark. Any discussion? Hillary? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Ellingson?
The other 9.2 was going to be a short discussion on the boarding and breeding text amendment. Kind of get a feel from the board where you would like this to go. We have it back in its form that the state's attorney has reviewed it and put it into the legal verbiage that's probably needed to make it become a text amendment. And with that, with the way the committee was set up, it was then to come back and see if it should go through to become a text amendment. And in order to do that, the PZB committee felt that the board should just take a brief look at least, give us some feedback what their pleasure is.
Questions or comments from the board? Mr. Ellingson, did you want those comments tonight? Did you want to come back next month with this? Did you want to ask them to address those to the committee, perhaps?
Well, they could address them to the committee. We actually thought we would be taking it up very possibly at the next meeting. Again, if the board felt that way. I guess our main concern is that we don't have a board that we're going to go to the work and ask the ZBA to review this and do all the steps, and then have it come back here and find out that there's only 3 board members that have any desire to see this go forward anyway. So I guess we're just looking, if anybody really is concerned that this is really a bad direction to go, you know, we'd like to hear that. If it's a matter that we think the policy and the rules in it make sense, then I think it's great for us to move forward with it.
Okay, so as I understand it, any words of encouragement or concerns you have, please get those addressed to Mr. Ellingson or a member of the committee, or go to the committee meeting itself next month, have those addressed so that we don't come next month and everybody suddenly can't stand the information. And we'll, at that time, then it would be, you're going to put it to this body to vote whether or not to send it for a text amendment. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh, I guess it can. Yeah, we thought it possibly could even get that direction tonight, but if we want to wait a month on it, that's fine too.
What is the desire of the, well, we can't vote on it tonight. We couldn't vote on it tonight anyway, could we? It's just listed as discussion item.
Yeah, it's called a discussion item. I think the intent was to see if there were any objections of board members in making this a text amendment, because if we do that step, then that means the ZBA is involved in its hearings, and it's a lot of time and it's staff work. And if there are no objections, I believe the intent was it would go back to PZB, and then that committee would look at all the final recommendations and make sure they're accepting of it. And I believe they said send it back here again, and then the board can vote to make it a text amendment. Then it goes through that process. I believe that's what was said at PZB, unless anyone can remember different.
Any different versions from the committee? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Ellingson?
Nope, that is it. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Next up, Finance, Ms. Gieske.
Thank you. Item 10.1 is a motion to approve claims with the understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by William Charles and Associates and HD Supply, and Denny Ellingson abstains from voting on all claims presented by Conserve FS. This was approved 5-0 in committee.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gieske, seconded by Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion? Ms. Gieske.
I don't have a discussion, but I would like to just point out that the single provider for office supplies appears to be being utilized by all departments, so I think that's a nice victory for us.
Wonderful. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Mueller,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward.
Yes. Thank you. Item 10.
Motion carries. Ms. Gieske.
Sorry.
Mhm.
10.2 is to authorize the county board chairman to sign the general proxy for the Candlewick Lake Association annual meeting.
Second.
Did I-
Motion by Ms. Gieske, seconded by Mr. Ellingson. Discussion? Ms. Gieske?
Well, just a little bit of a quick background. This is a proxy that they need to obtain a quorum. I think I've got this right, or I hope so, Ken. They need at least 467 members, and we have 49 parcels. So they will at least have a quorum. We won't vote, but we'll make up the quorum. Is that right?
That is correct.
Correct.
That is correct. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Gieske?
And 10.3 is to approve resolution 17-19, appointing Debbie Wells, the interim supervisor of assessments, for March 17th through May 18th of 2017. This was approved in committee 5-0.
Motion by Ms. Gieske, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Ellingson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Gieske, anything else?
Nope, that's it for finance. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you. Roads, Mr. Stark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 11.1, motion to approve Resolution 17-18 regarding the Poplar Grove Road Bridge Project.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stark, seconded by Ms. Ward. Discussion. Mr. Stark, anything you want to throw out there for the board?
Not really on this. This is just a resolution to get the ball rolling on this project. The next motion is really what
Okay.
puts that into action, so this is just a formality.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Stark?
11.2, motion to approve contract with Hanson Engineering for the amount of $195,548 for services related to the environmental research and design for the Poplar Grove Bridge replacement project.
Motion by Mr. Stark, seconded
Second.
by Ms. Gieske. Discussion. Mr. Stark?
Again, we talked about this at committee. This is a local firm. Their sub is CES, who is also another local firm. I've never heard anything bad, and we all know bad news travels a lot faster than good, so I think this is a good step in good direction on this project.
Mr. Crowe, anything you'd like to add?
We're under budget. This number is under budget.
Oh, yeah, like almost 50,000.
Yeah, so we're looking really good. Important to get this stuff moving so that we can look positive towards our final construction funding through the CES. We get this project moving forward, then it's a contract that gets these other projects.
Any other questions?
This is do not exceed number, so if, for instance, there are fewer requirements, they go on hourly rate, so this is a not to exceed number.
Even better.
Absolutely, super. Any other questions or concerns? Roll call, please.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Mueller,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes. Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Stark?
That is it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Health and Human Services, Mr. Carlisle, I see no motions, but do you have anything you want to?
No motions, nothing to add. Thank you very much.
You know, it's not often I just give you the floor.
I know. Watch out.
Admin.
Mr. Chairman, for 13-1, I would move to approve Resolution 17-17, special warranty for the Section 5311 Rural Transportation Program.
Motion by Mr. Newhouse, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Branson. Discussion? All, Mr. Newhouse?
This is part of the process in securing financial service grant.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, for 13-2, I'd move to approve the quote from Meeitng for update of the Boone County Code in the amount of $1,010 budgeted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Newhouse, seconded by Mr. Ellingson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Mueller,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, for 13-3, I would move to approve purchase of service agreement between Boone County and the Boone County Council on Aging.
Motion by Mr. Newhouse, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Ellingson. Roll call, please.
Denny Ellingson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Mueller,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, for 13-4, I move to approve the letter of interest between Boone County and the Intergovernmental Personal Benefit Cooperative for a group employee health insurance quote effective August 1st, 2017.
Motion by Mr. Newhouse, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Ellingson. Discussion. Mr. Newhouse.
Just safe to say our costs in the health arena are exceptionally high, and we're beginning the process of just doing a little shopping around to see whether we're where we need to be or where we have to be.
Ms. Gieske.
I guess this question is for Ken. So what the letter is saying, yes, we are interested, and they'll get what they need from us, and then on March 23rd, they're going to make a decision. So your final statement is, I would expect final resolution on our desire to join the pool on at the April 19th board meeting. So then it comes back to us, we'll go through admin, and then,
Yes. Here's how the process will work. This group which is an insurance pool of local governments, has its own governing board. They meet in March and they meet in September. And when you join a pool, you have to join by your plan year, which in our case is August 1. So what this document does is next week at their board meeting, they will acknowledge our interest, and they're giving us a grace period of up to April 19th to say whether we're in or out.
Oh, okay.
So we received the estimate cost information today, and we're analyzing it. And we'll have a representative of the pool at the April admin meeting and at the board meeting as well. So this is a numbers-driven exercise. Your current arrangement has served the county very well over the years with a local broker. However, if these numbers are, significantly favorable, I think we owe it to just about everybody you can think of to really consider it and possibly do it. So,
Ms. Kieske?
Is it important to point out also that we are currently self-insured, but this would be an insured plan? We think, maybe.
Here's how this will work. This will, up front, start to look like you're in a fully insured model. At least that's how the pricing will work, meaning how you go about paying. However, at the back end, behind the scenes, the machinery is all still self-insured. And the way they do that is they create these tiers of coverage. So today, you're covering the first $85,000 of an individual. In the pool, you're going to cover the first $35,000. And everything beyond that is in different tier structures of spreading risk that the insurance pays. So dollar-wise, you're going to end up paying a monthly premium. But then you're done for the year. That's your premium. But behind the scenes, they cover their risk and keep the costs down by self-insuring and layering everything with various reinsurance carriers.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I want to just make sure I point out good job to Ken and the admin staff for finding something like this. Whether it turns into being a positive effect for the county and our situation or not, at least we're searching for, finding, and investigating different options and ways to restructure things wherever we can. So good job to you and your staff, Ken. Absolutely, Justin and everybody. So we had a motion and a second. And this is just a letter, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, admin has no further motions.
Thank you, Mr. Newhouse. City County, Ms. Ward, I see no motions. Do you
No
have anything
motions,
you'd
but I
like
have
to
a
add?
couple quick comments, if I might. I think most of you know, maybe not everyone, but at every meeting that we have every month, when half of the people there are from the city as well, we invite someone to come in and tell us some things that are going on. And last month, we had a representative from Rockford University who was really very good. But this particular month, we had the new president of Rock Valley College, Dr. Jensen. And if any of you need a speaker for any organization that you've had that want to be truly inspired by what's happening over at Rock Valley College, I would ask you to invite him because he was truly one of the best I have ever seen in all the years I've been on the board. Next month, we're going to have Belvedere School District, who's going to give us an update on what they're going to do. You're always invited to come as well. And the second thing is we've decided that we want to have a priority for our committee. And our number one priority, we've decided, is to try to reduce costs for the landfill. We've been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on that never-ending black hole out there. So with the help of our committee, and we have many very good people on our committee, we're going to do our best to reduce costs for all the people in Boone County. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ward. Public Safety, Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve waiving the county bid policy and approve quote from Cerrone Piping for an air conditioner replacement at the jail facility in the amount of $19,562. This was approved in committee 4-1.
Motion by Mr. Larson, seconded by Ms. Ward. Discussion. Mr. Newhouse.
I had the opportunity to be sitting out in the audience at the time of the discussion for this at the committee level. It's my understanding that Cerrone has been responsible for this portion of that building since it has been constructed. They've got a knowledge that well, can be equaled by no other business. And so even though there is a question about whether there should be bids taken out for this, I think this is a great opportunity to stick with an agency that knows the system and rather than make any changes now.
And local.
And local.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Jessica Mueller,
Yes.
Marshall Newhouse,
Yes.
Bernard O'Malley,
Yes.
Brad Stark,
Yes.
Kathy Ward,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Branson,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Denny Ellingson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Larson, anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Special committees, community building.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, we met this afternoon, and I think I mentioned last month that we're in the midst of a very big renovation project at the community building. It's $900,000 worth of renovations. It's going to add not only renovated restroom facilities, but a catering kitchen and another meeting room onto that building. Construction outside starts on Monday. And one other thing that maybe not everyone is aware of, but if you want a good place to walk, whether it's winter, summer, spring, or fall, about 20 to 25 people use the community building as a good place to walk, and you can still go in there and walk even during the renovation project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. UCCI, Mr. Terranoni.
Yes, the next educational event for board members is July 24, 25. I know that's kind of a long way off, but if you are interested, I do need to know pretty quickly so we can get our reservations in. So that is July 24, 25, and it's in Galena. So please let me know if you are interested.
In Galena, you said, right, Ken? All right, Community Action Agency, Ms. Ward.
Yes, we meet on March 30th. There was no meeting in February, sir.
Okay, thank you. 911, Mr. Newhouse.
3 quick items. For anyone who's ever owned a computer, if you own anything computer-related back from the early 90s, you know it's mostly junk. Our 911 equipment is from the 1990 to 1994 era, and it is falling into that category, and it is failing. So March, April is the time frame now for all the units to be switched out. There was a second item. The 911 board sent representatives down to a MAVIS conference, which is the mutual association. I had no idea what would be gathered for information at that, but they spoke about families who had loved ones in the Sandy Hook shooting, Dallas, and Florida, all these areas that have had the mass shootings, and had families come and speak to them so that they could gather information about how best our law enforcement and emergency personnel can respond at a time like that. They bring all this information back to improve our abilities here in this county, so it sounded like a great and worthwhile exercise to be there.
Thank you, Mr. Newhouse. Any other committees?
I attended my first meeting of the Agricultural Conservation Easement and Farmland Protection Commission on February 24th. During that meeting, it was decided that they would have a special meeting using a facilitator from the University of Illinois Extension to kind of work on their mission statement and set some new goals moving forward. So like it sounds like they're this is my first meeting with that group. It sounds like they're restructuring. There was a lot of really positive ideas moving forward, and their next meeting will be in May 26th at 8:30 a.m. in this room.
Thank you very much, Ms. Miller. Any other committees? Scheduling of committees. Ms. Gieske.
The next finance meeting will be Tuesday, April 11th at 6 p.m. in this room, at that table.
Mr. Larson.
The next Public Safety Committee meeting will be April 10th at 6 p.m. in this room.
Thank you. Mr. Ellingson?
I got a couple of things to mention to you, but there will be a ZBA meeting, I believe, in this room at 7 p.m. on March 28th. Is that correct, Ken?
Yes.
And Tuesday, the 28th. That's a 7 o'clock meeting. On the 5th of April, there will be a PCB meeting in this room at 6 o'clock. And the one other thing that I should have mentioned before, but I'll do it now, is the Council on Aging banquet that is coming up on March 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. out at the Moose. Just $13 for tickets purchased before the event. At the door, it'll be $15. Ages 4 to 12 are $9. 3 and under are free. And if anybody is in need of tickets, I know where you can get a hold of a few. So just talk to me.
Thank you, Mr. Ellingson. Admin, Mr. Newhouse.
Admin, Monday, April 3rd, 6 p.m., this room.
Ms. Ward?
City County, April 12th at 6 p.m. Note the change of time for everybody, because a couple people came late that didn't know about the change of time in this room.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. Mr. Carlisle.
Health and Human Services, on the 6th of April, this building, 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Stark.
Roads will meet April 4th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, Highway Department.
Yes, please note the change in location. It's at the Highway Department due to a small election.
Change our venue due to this being a polling place.
Mr. Ternoni?
May I propose, it came to me an idea, I think from Mr. Carlisle, why don't we try the township office, because the highway department office is pretty small. I mean, I've had many meetings there and it gets very, very crowded. So if, with leave of the committee, we would look into the township location.
Did you want to rock, paper, scissors this?
Go for it.
That's fine with me. Do we know, do we have
let us know.
confirmation, or you got to find out and let us know?
We will find out and let you know.
Isn't there election?
Bernie recommends the animal shelter.
At that facility?
Oh, there may be.
Oh, is that a,
General Election Center.
is that a polling place?
Is that a polling place?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not.
Okay, cool.
You're talking about Belvedere Township?
Yep.
No, it's not a polling
Sounds
place.
good then.
It's not? Okay.
Oh, it's not?
The chief cook and bottle washer tells me that it is not a polling place. So we're going to attempt to have it at the Belvedere Township Building at 6 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Any unfinished business? I see none. Ms. Ward?
Just one quick question. The comprehensive plan, we didn't really talk about it tonight, but last night at the Farm Bureau meeting, they talked about it and encouraged people to get involved, that we're doing a revision of it. So maybe we could tell everybody what the status of this. I know your committee looked at it, Danny, so where are we right now on
Well, I can just tell you that what we're doing is we're probably going to be 2 or 3 months trying to figure out the right course of action. I think we asked some people from Rockford to give us some advice on how to proceed. The state's attorney's office is going to give us some advice on how to proceed. I don't remember if there's any others, but I know we're going to look at a couple of different options there to try and make sure we do it right the first time and move straight forward through it. In my mind, I've said we're probably going to be 90 days before we really get started on anything there, but we will be working toward that goal. If 60 days, that's wonderful.
Mr. Ternoni?
Just to let everyone know, I did speak with Michael Dunn at RMAP, and he's, of course, willing to help with our effort through the planner individual that he has on staff. And at the last committee meeting, we talked about a meeting of the individuals Mr. Ellingson mentioned, and also the planners in the region to get together and come up with a timeline and a list of objectives. And we hope to have a tentative timeline at your April PZB, so the committee can look at least our thoughts on how long and what type of deadline we're kind of imposing on ourselves to try to get it done.
Ms. Gieske?
And just a point of interest, the city of Belvedere is updating theirs too.
Wonderful.
No, I mention it simply because, you know, it might be a synergy that will be important to us.
Absolutely. Mr. Ellingson.
Well, actually, along those lines, that is good news, but in doing it, there was also been talk at a couple of meetings that we probably are going to want to get every village as well, you know, involved. As we talk about it in the past when it's happened, it's been that the villages are all asked to give some thought. The school boards, you know, most any organization that's active in the county, we're looking for input as we proceed through it. So that's part of this process we're looking at, is how we make sure we get everybody involved and don't miss anything.
Ms. Kieske?
Well, I haven't mentioned this to the chair of admin. However, I have talked to the chairman, Mr. Terranone, when we've had these meetings with municipalities every quarter. And so Carl and Ken and I talked the other day about perhaps our next one would be that very topic. Is, you know, I'm not sure how it'll work out, but our second quarter one might work out, because the municipalities all come here, so we can just kind of use that as a kickoff point or whatever you want to do, Dan.
What month is that?
We haven't set the month. It'll probably be, what do you think, May?
That sounds good.
We might be ready by
Yeah.
then.
Okay. Ken's very agreeable right now.
Right. Well, we'll, how about if we gauge when we have it according to your timeline?
Well, yeah, that's great. We'll try and keep you posted.
And Marshall, I'm sorry that's how I told you about this, but.
Ms. Ward?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I talked to Bob Blake, who was the chairman when the comprehensive plan was drafted, and he's frankly amazed that it's lasted 40 years, almost virtually untouched. But he said that when it started as a result of the fact that they were getting beat up in court at the time, because when people came in, if they'd been here a long time and said, I want to build a house on my property because my family's been here for 30 or 50 or 100 years, they were told okay by that county board. But then when newcomers came in, they said no. So every time they went to court, they got beat up. He said it's time to change. So he arranged a committee of 20 different people. No board members were involved. And they were bankers, they were farmers, they were lawyers, they were from people all over the county. They took 1 year to develop this plan, and it has stood for 40 years. So including the villages and certainly people from all different professions that are interested, like people building houses as well as assessors and everybody else, is certainly a good idea. And he knew that the county board would have the final say, so he said, stay away. Let the committee of our people do the work. And that worked. And it's been here a long time.
Thank you. All right. Any new business? That was kind of both old and new. So any other new business? Informational items, Ken?
Oh, there's a number of items. If you could take a moment sometime to look at. The Hunger Coalition has already been discussed, so if you can attend, that would be really good. County clerk submits her reports every month on revenues and receipts. There's a recycling flyer regarding Rockford location and Roscoe location for recycling that you might be interested in. So those are the major items.
As I understand it, we don't need executive session unless something's changed, Ken. So I don't want to take credit for an hour-long meeting, but
Move to adjourn.
I do have the
Second.
gavel. Motion by Mr. Stark, seconded by Mr. Ellingson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?